Galactic Empire panics, humans not in their records, and they annihilated the enemy fleet. For centuries, its fleets patrolled the stars. Its records meticulously cataloged every species, every star system, and every known threat. Nothing escaped the Empire's eyes, or so they thought. Admiral Selvorn stood on the bridge of the flagship Empyrean, a massive warship bristling with weapons and sensors. The stars stretched endlessly before him, but something was wrong. The Empire's intelligence grids had detected a massive alien fleet advancing toward a core system, one of the most protected sectors in Empire space. "This doesn't make sense," Selvorn muttered, his eyes scanning the holoscreens. "Their formation, it's unlike anything in the records, and their numbers enormous." Commander Vera Call, the Empire's chief strategist, adjusted her uniform and leaned over a console. Her sharp eyes reflected concern. "Admiral, sensors show our attack drones cannot even get close. They're destroyed before reaching the enemy. Our data on their weapons is insufficient, almost like they're using technology outside known physics." Selvorn's brow furrowed. "Impossible. Everything in the galaxy is known, cataloged, studied. How can a fleet this large operate without leaving a trace? Who are they?" Before Vera could answer, the monitors flickered. A single report came through, almost like a whisper among the chaos. The alien fleet had been annihilated. Not a single ship remained. Selvorn froze. "What? How?" The reports continued to arrive. Entire squadrons of enemy ships destroyed in hours. The Empire's most advanced warships had failed to intercept them, yet they were gone. The remaining Empire officers looked around in stunned silence. "Sir," Vera said quietly, we don't know who did this." Then a single word appeared on the communications grid, crisp and clear: human. The name barely made sense. Humans. They were supposed to be a myth, a legend whispered in old logs and ignored by modern officers. The Empire had no records of humanity. No colonies, no fleets, no history. They simply did not exist. And yet here they were, destroying an entire enemy fleet without warning the Empire itself. On the other side of the galaxy, Captain Arlen Hayes stood on the bridge of the Valor, a human warship smaller than the Empire's dreadnoughts but advanced beyond recognition. His crew moved with quiet efficiency, hands flying across consoles, adjusting shields, redirecting energy, plotting courses. Hayes' eyes were calm, his mind focused. "Enemy fleet neutralized," he said simply. "Report remaining hostiles." A young officer shook his head. "All accounted for, Captain. No casualties, no damage to the ship." Hayes nodded. "Good. Prepare communications. We'll inform the Empire we are coming for a meeting." The humans had no intention of conquering or destroying for pleasure. Their mission was simple: prevent a catastrophic war that would sweep through the galaxy. And if that meant defeating an entire alien armada in the process, so be it. Back on Empyrean, Selvorn's command center was a storm of confusion. Reports of the annihilated fleet kept coming in. Empire officers scrambled to find the cause, scanning the stars, tracking any movement. Nothing. No signals, no transmissions, nothing. "Send scouts," Selvorn ordered, his voice tight. "We need to find them, identify them, now." Minutes later, the first scout ship returned. Its data was astonishing. A single human cruiser, Valor, moving toward the Empire's capital system, faster than any known propulsion. No signatures, no identification, just a lone ship slicing through the void. Selvorn felt his stomach tighten. "A single ship against our fleets," Vera looked grim. "Admiral, intelligence is incomplete. We have no record of their capabilities. This is unprecedented." The Empire panicked. Protocols meant for such emergencies existed in theory, but not in practice. Never had they encountered a species completely unknown. Never had one displayed such strength, such precision, such audacity. Meanwhile, Hayes and his crew approached the Empire's capital, calm and precise. Humans did not rush blindly. Every move, every calculation was deliberate. They knew the Empire would respond, but they had planned for it. "Adjust course," Hayes said. "Maintain stealth until we reach orbit. Do not engage unless necessary." The Empire scrambled fleets to intercept. Hundreds of warships were deployed, sensors locked, weapons charged. Admiral Selvorn personally oversaw the operation, convinced that overwhelming firepower would destroy the human vessel easily. But the humans were not so easily cornered. Using maneuvers no one in the Empire had considered, Valor slipped past patrols, dodged energy volleys, and appeared almost at the capital's outskirts before the Empire could react. Vera Kal observed silently, her mind racing. They anticipate every move. Every deployment we make, they know. It's as if they think ahead of our strategy. Selvorn slammed his fist on the console. "Impossible. That violates every law of war we know. No one moves this fast, this smart. This is madness." Inside the Empire Command Tower, civilians and officials alike watched the news feeds. Panic spread as word of the human ship's approach circulated. Rumors of the annihilated fleet reached the capital, shaking confidence in the Empire's invincibility. "What is their goal?" someone whispered. "Why attack if they are attacking at all?" Selvorn had no answer. The humans had not yet fired a weapon. They had not threatened the Empire directly. And yet, the mere presence of humanity had thrown the entire political and military structure into chaos. On the Bridge of Valor, Hayes watched the Empire's fleets through the sensors. His voice was calm. "We do not wish to fight them. We only want them to know we exist and to prevent further bloodshed." "Captain," his second-in-command said, "they'll see our approach as an act of war." Hayes shook his head. "Let them. They will learn soon enough that humans do not fight for power but for principle. They will have a choice: escalate and fail, or listen and survive." As the human ship closed in on the Empire's capital, Selvorn issued his final command before engagement: "Open fire. Destroy them before they reach orbit." But the humans were ready. Using precise calculations and human ingenuity, they moved through the Empire's fire like water, shields holding against energy beams that would have destroyed any other ship. In minutes, the Empire's ships were scattered, crippled, and confused. The human vessel remained intact, unyielding, untouchable. Vera Kal's voice was barely audible. "Admiral, they are beyond anything we've trained for. This is not normal. This is humanity." Selvorn stared at the holoscreen, disbelief etched across his face. The galaxy had always been predictable, until now. Humans, unrecorded in any history or database, had arrived and shattered the Empire's confidence in one simple, undeniable display: power coupled with intelligence, courage, and calm. The final transmission from Valor was simple, almost polite: "We come in peace. Prepare to listen." And with that, the humans entered the Empire's space, not as conquerors, but as a force that no one, not even the mighty Galactic Empire, had expected. The stars themselves seemed to pause, waiting. The galaxy would never be the same again. The Galactic Empire's capital trembled under the shock of humanity's arrival. Ships that had never failed, fleets that had dominated star systems for centuries, now scrambled in confusion. Orders were shouted, commands rerouted, and no officer could predict the humans' next move. Admiral Selvorn paced the bridge of the Empyrean, every muscle taut with frustration. The humans were not attacking in the usual ways. There were no aggressive volleys, no blind charges, no obvious signals of war. And yet the Empire's patrols were paralyzed. Ships that had once been symbols of fear and control now floated helplessly in the void, crippled not by power alone, but by strategy they could not comprehend. "Sir," Vera Kal said, stepping forward, "we cannot fight them with brute force. They anticipate every deployment, every maneuver. It is unlike anything recorded." Selvorn slammed his fist onto the command console. "Then what do we do? We cannot allow a single human ship to roam our space unchecked. They are a threat. Every second we hesitate, they gain advantage. Vera's eyes narrowed. Perhaps it is time we observe them differently, not as enemies but as unknown. We need to understand their thinking, not just their firepower. Selvorn shot her a sharp glance. And wait while they make the next move. They could destroy the capital before we even comprehend their tactics. Meanwhile, Captain Arlen Hayes navigated the Valor through the outer perimeter of the Empire's capital system. The human sensors picked up the massive concentration of ships and orbital defenses. Hayes did not panic. Humans had trained for unpredictability, and adaptability was their strongest weapon. "Maintain stealth," Hayes ordered. "We do not wish to escalate. Only observe and ensure no unnecessary blood is shed." Yet the Empire interpreted the approach differently. Every fleet, every dreadnought, every defensive station activated weapons, ready to strike the unknown intruder. And still, the humans moved forward. A group of Empire destroyers attempted a flanking maneuver, thinking their numerical advantage would overwhelm a single ship. Hayes anticipated the strategy. With a series of precise course adjustments and energy redirections, the humans caused the destroyers to collide with one another, disabling multiple ships without firing a shot. On the Empyrean, Selvorn's jaw tightened as reports came in. They did this without firing weapons. Vera shook her head, staring at the displays. "It is more than strategy, Admiral. They anticipate not only our movements but our intentions. They think differently." The Empire sent a delegation of starships to confront the humans, believing intimidation might force them to retreat. The humans, however, avoided every trap. They used the natural environment of asteroid belts, gravity wells, and radiation fields as shields, moving unpredictably and with elegance. One by one, the Empire ships attempting engagement were disabled or forced to retreat. Inside the Valor, Hayes addressed his crew calmly. "We are not here to fight unless necessary. Every action we take must minimize harm. Focus on maneuvering, not destruction. The galaxy must see humans as a force of reason, not chaos." A young officer hesitated. "Captain, some of the fleets are still aggressive." "If we don't fight," Hayes nodded. "I understand, but our mission is protection, not conquest. Let them come. If they attack, we will defend. If they listen, we will teach. That is the human way." Back on the Empire's command bridge, the mood was tense. Selvorn convened an emergency council, summoning the top minds in military and intelligence. "They are not in any records," Selvorn said, pointing to the holomap of the capital system. "They are unknown. Their technology surpasses ours, their strategy unimaginable. We have no choice but to fight, or we will appear weak to the galaxy." Vera's voice was calm but firm. "Sir, fighting may not be the answer. We have never encountered a species with such adaptability. Every offensive we deploy fails. Perhaps understanding them, communicating, might give us insight we cannot gain through war alone." Selvorn's eyes narrowed. "Insight? They are invaders. They move through our space freely without regard for protocol. We cannot negotiate with ghosts." Vera hesitated. "They are not ghosts, Admiral. They are human. And humans are unpredictable in ways that cannot be measured by power alone. They fight differently, think differently, live differently. If we continue this path, the Empire may lose more than we imagine." Selvorn swallowed his pride, knowing she had a point, but his ego and the pressure of centuries of tradition weighed heavily. "Prepare the fleets. If they attack, we will respond decisively." The humans, sensing the Empire's tension, made their move. Hayes ordered the Valor to orbit a nearby uninhabited planet. From there, they transmitted a communication to the Empire, using calm, measured words. "We are humans. We have no desire to conquer or destroy your empire. Our purpose is to protect civilizations from needless war. We ask only for dialogue, not conflict." The message reached Selvorn moments before his first attack wave would have fired. Silence fell across the command bridge. The message was polite, rational, and yet terrifying. Vera Call studied the transmission carefully. "They are offering peace," she said, "but in their actions they have already proven power beyond comprehension. This is a species unlike any we know. They do not fight like others, they fight smart. They think for themselves." Selvorn clenched his fists. "Peace. After they destroyed a fleet larger than any we faced." Vera turned to him. "Precisely. That is why we must consider they may fight only when necessary. And in their logic, the fleet they destroyed was not an act of war, it was defense. They act to prevent greater loss, not for dominance." The council debated for hours. Some argued for immediate retaliation, while others, including Vera, suggested observation and careful engagement. In the end, Selvorn reluctantly agreed to a controlled reconnaissance. He would not fire first, but neither would he show weakness. Hayes watched the Empire carefully, studying their formation, anticipating their decisions. Humans excelled in predicting behavior patterns, not through data alone, but through intuition, logic, and empathy. They understood how others thought, and used it to navigate situations without needless bloodshed. During the next week, several skirmishes occurred, not with weapons but with strategy. Humans avoided confrontations, outmaneuvered fleets, and left subtle messages that confused and humbled the Empire. Patrol ships sent to chase them returned with sensors scrambled, fleets in disarray, and crews questioning their own training. Vera Call documented every encounter meticulously. "Their unpredictability is not random," she noted in her report. "They act with purpose, but their purpose does not align with conventional strategy. They combine foresight with adaptability. Their ethics, their reasoning, and their courage all contribute to an effectiveness no numerical advantage can match." Meanwhile, news of humanity spread throughout the Empire. Civilians whispered in fear and awe about the humans who destroyed a fleet without a single recorded death of their own. Military officers debated how to counter a species that could not be fought in traditional ways. On the Valor, Hayes convened a meeting with his officers. "The Empire is trying to understand us," he said. "They are not accustomed to beings who think independently. We must continue to show restraint, clarity, and intelligence. The galaxy must know humans are capable of power but guided by reason, not desire for dominance." The humans' calm efficiency forced the Empire to reconsider everything. Fleet after fleet attempted engagement and failed. Defensive stations were bypassed using clever maneuvers. Communications and sensor networks were outsmarted without being destroyed. It became clear the humans were not just a threat, they were a revelation. Finally, after days of careful maneuvers, the humans sent another message. "We do not wish to fight, we wish to teach. The galaxy is larger than your records. Danger is closer than your fleets. We are here to prevent its spread, not to spread it ourselves. Listen and learn." Selvorn read the message in silence. For the first time in his career, he realized the Empire had underestimated life outside its records. The humans were not just strong, they were intelligent, adaptable, and morally guided. They represented an entirely new category of being, one the Empire could not hope to control with brute force or fear. Vera Call finally spoke, her voice calm but heavy with realization. "Admiral, humanity is not an enemy. They are the future we never imagined, and if we do not learn from them, the galaxy will remind us the hard way." Selvorn clenched his jaw, the weight of centuries of doctrine pressing down on him. For the first time, the Empire faced something it could not dominate, predict, or destroy. And far from the capital, the Valor continued its course, steady, calm, and deliberate. Humanity had arrived. They were not invaders, they were a force of principle, intelligence, and courage. And the galaxy had no choice but to pay attention. The Galactic Empire had never been so uncertain. For the first time in centuries, its fleets were not just challenged, they were outsmarted. Ships that had once inspired fear now sat crippled or confused, their crews questioning their training and doctrine. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same. Admiral Selvorn stood on the bridge of the Empyrean, his face a mask of frustration and disbelief. The human ship Valor hovered near the outskirts of the capital system, calm and deliberate. Despite overwhelming firepower, every move the Empire made had been anticipated, avoided, or outmaneuvered. Selvorn clenched his fists. "They are not like any enemy we have faced," he said, his voice low. "They do not fight for territory, for conquest, yet they are stronger than all our fleets combined." Vera Call, observing silently from the command console, nodded. "Admiral, they fight with purpose, not with chaos. Their strength is in thinking, not sheer power. That is why they cannot be defeated using our usual methods." Selvorn took a deep breath. "Then what do? Vera's eyes were calm. "We watch, we learn, or we risk annihilation." Meanwhile, Captain Arlen Hayes prepared for the inevitable confrontation. The humans did not fear the Empire. They respected it, understood it, and planned accordingly. Their mission was not destruction, but prevention, to stop the galaxy from descending into wars that could consume entire civilizations. "Prepare for communication," Hayes said to his officers. "We will attempt one last peaceful contact. If they attack, we will defend, but only if necessary. Humanity does not strike first without reason." The Empire, however, had decided differently. Selvorn mobilized the full strength of his capital fleet, determined to force the humans into surrender or destruction. Hundreds of warships, armed with devastating energy cannons and advanced missiles, moved in formation, surrounding the Valor. The capital's orbital defenses glowed ominously, ready to unleash devastation. On the Valor, Hayes watched the movements. He anticipated every attack, every strategy, every assumption the Empire would make. Humans had an advantage that no technology could match: creativity, intuition, and the ability to see patterns where others saw only chaos. "Adjust shields," Hayes ordered calmly. "Prepare evasive maneuvers, keep them guessing. Do not engage unless absolutely necessary." The first volley of fire struck. Energy beams and missiles streaked through space, but the humans were already moving. Using a combination of precision thrusters, gravitational pulls from nearby moons, and carefully calculated angles, the Valor slipped through the attack, avoiding damage entirely. Every shot the Empire fired was wasted, every move anticipated and countered without a single human casualty. Selvorn roared in frustration. "Impossible! They are everywhere we are not." Vera Call, observing the battle unfold, shook her head. "No, Admiral. They are not everywhere. They are where we will be. They predict, adapt, and respond. That is their strength. That is humanity." The humans then made their move. Using the Empire's own patrol patterns against them, the Valor disrupted communications, disabled weapons targeting systems, and maneuvered into a position that allowed a direct approach to the capital's surface, not as an attack, but as a show of intent. Selvorn's eyes widened. They are coming to orbit." Hayes transmitted a message, calm and deliberate. "We do not come as conquerors. We come to teach, to show that strength is not measured by destruction alone. Your fleets are powerful, but they are not the ultimate measure. Listen and learn." The message reached every command station, every officer, every civilian within the capital. Whispers spread rapidly. Humans were not just powerful, they were reasoning, ethical, and fearless. They fought not to dominate, but to protect. Selvorn, though infuriated, felt a strange sense of respect. "They are unlike anything in our records. We cannot crush them with force alone. Perhaps we must learn from them if we wish to survive." Vera nodded. "And not only survive, Admiral. Humanity may teach us a better way, one that combines strength with principle." On the capital's surface, Civilians watched as the Valor descended in orbit, silent and majestic. No explosions, no weapons fire, just a human ship demonstrating mastery over space and strategy. The Empire's fear turned to awe. Humans were not invaders, they were exemplars of what intelligence, courage, and morality could achieve. Inside the ship, Hayes addressed his crew. "Prepare for diplomacy. Our presence must be felt, our message clear. Strength alone will not earn respect. We must show reason and principle." The Empire's fleets cautiously allowed the humans to approach the central command station. Selvorn, aware of the humans' reputation for precision, chose to meet them personally. He arranged a meeting within the orbital command hub, a neutral zone where no weapons could be fired. Hayes docked the Valor, and a small team of humans boarded the command station. Selvorn met them personally, his pride and authority clashing with the undeniable skill and calm of the humans. "You are unlike any species we have encountered," Selvorn said, his voice steady but tense. "Your fleets are powerful, your strategies incomprehensible." "Why have you come?" Hayes stepped forward. "We have come because the galaxy is larger than your records, and danger is closer than your fleets. We fight not for conquest, but to prevent unnecessary destruction. Your empire is strong, but strength alone does not ensure safety or peace. We have come to teach, to show what intelligence, courage, and principle can achieve when combined." Selvorn studied him carefully. "And if we refuse, if we see your actions as a threat?" Hayes' voice was calm, unwavering. "Then you will witness the consequences of underestimating humanity, but we hope it does not come to that. Humanity fights to protect, not to dominate. The choice is yours." Vera Kahl observed silently. Every instinct, every training, every calculation told her the humans were right. Strength without principle could be dangerous. Humanity had proven it was not just powerful. It was morally guided, adaptable, and intelligent in ways the Empire had never recorded. The meeting ended not with battle, but with understanding. The humans had demonstrated their superiority not through raw power alone, but through clarity, reason, and ethical action. The Empire faced a choice: adapt and learn, or resist and risk defeat. In the days that followed, Selvorn began to restructure the Empire's strategy, incorporating lessons from humanity. Patrol patterns changed. Fleets were trained not only in power but in adaptability. Scientists and strategists studied human methods, realizing that intelligence, teamwork, and moral clarity were as formidable as any weapon. The humans, having completed their mission, departed the capital system. Hayes transmitted one final message: "We leave you with knowledge, not fear. The galaxy is vast, and its future depends on wisdom as much as strength. Humans will always act to protect those who cannot protect themselves. Learn and grow stronger, not just in power but in principle." As the Valor disappeared into the stars, the Empire's leaders and citizens alike understood the magnitude of what had occurred. Humanity had arrived unrecorded, unseen, and yet they had reshaped the galaxy in ways no one could have predicted. Selvorn stared at the holoscreen where the human ship had vanished. "We have been humbled," he said quietly, "and perhaps we have been taught." Vera Kahl smiled faintly. "Not just taught, Admiral, inspired. Humanity has shown us that true strength lies not in domination, but in courage, intelligence, and principle. That is why they cannot be defeated. That is why the galaxy must respect them." The stars stretched endlessly before them as they always had. But now humanity had left a mark upon the galaxy, a mark of hope, courage, and undeniable greatness. The Empire had learned at last that humans were not just another species. They were a force of nature, a standard of intelligence and morality, and a testament to what a single species could achieve when it combined courage, reason, and heart. The galaxy would never be the same, and humanity, calm and unyielding, continued its journey among the stars.